What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Elune video here on Fort Misery Gaming. And today, guys, is going to be the start of a new series I'm going to be doing, which is how do I use my legend and what contents of the game. So this is going to be going over all the legendary heroes. I plan to do like one a week if I can, which eventually we will be caught up to all the legendaries, because there's only like 12 or 13, something like that. There aren't an insane amount because we did have a pretty long period where we were not getting new legendary heroes for a while before the collab. So we're going to actually start with one of the collab heroes, which was probably the most hyped hero for a long time in the game, which is Artimel. So we're going to go over his skills, his stats, and where I think he can be useful, and where you guys should be putting him in your teams. So first of all, let's go over his skills. His normal skill is attacks an enemy 4 times with a sword, dealing total of 601.3% physical defense, 1.3% of physical damage with a 75% chance of removing 1 buff. That is at max skill level. Honestly, this is probably really strong to max skill level because of how his passive kit works. So we'll go into that if you guys don't know his full details in a bit. But one of the few times on a hero that I would recommend maxing their basic skill because of how his overall kit works. Next, let's go into his skill 2, which is going to be removes 1 weakened effect for himself. Let's actually go all the way to... There we go. Removes 2 weakened effects from himself and the ally with the lowest HP. Heal the HP by 3% of the target's max HP and 0.8 of physical defense, and cast enhanced buff that increases physical defense. So once again, his scaling goes off of physical defense for his S1, so his S2 does complement that. He has, so basically his S1 removes debuffs, his S2 his S2 removes debuffs from the opponent, removes buffs from the opponents, and then his S2 removes debuffs from himself and allies, heals the allies, and then increases physical defense as well on, it should be both for himself and the ally. Yep, and increases physical defense by 20% for 2 turns. So it should increase the physical defense as well as the other ally with the lowest health. And again, both skill gem sets, I would just recommend going for whatever stats are best. There is not a skill gem set for physical defense, so I think the best skill gem set for the normal skill is going to be, I believe it's the reds that increase your physical damage, and then for the special, I would go for yellows to increase your buff, or if you really want, if you're going to use them as a main source of healing, possibly, you could go triple green, but both set completions are pretty mediocre, so don't strive for that. Finally, his S3, let's go and max that out, is going to be that AoE revive. So it spends all of his HP until it reaches 1 HP to revive all fallen allies, then distributes 125% of the spent HP to revived allies. So obviously, if you're reviving all your allies, then it's going to be a situation where it's going to be doing all to 5 heroes. If it's less allies, then you're going to be able to basically recover more HP because, say there's only 1 other dead ally and you use the S3, it's going to distribute 125% of his max HP, spends all of his HP. Okay, so it's only spent HP. So optimally, you want him to be at full HP when you do this. Sorry, it's spent HP. So he's going to go down to 1, and then he's going to do all the HP that was spent to bring him down to 125% to all revived allies. So if it was 2 people, basically it's going to be 75% to each. So you should revive a little bit more than 50% of your 2 allies, unless the other ally is like a super tanky ally, like a Fahrenheit or something like that, where he's just got an obscene amount of HP. But still overall very strong. And since this is 10% chance of healing Arnold's HP by 10%, and it does have triple speed, I think this is a good one to actually complete the set, in my opinion. So I would probably do that. Give him 3 of the purple gems because gives you more speed, and it also is going to give you a 10% chance to heal your HP by 10%. 10% is pretty high for a passive like that, so that's pretty good. So let's go into his passives, which honestly is like what I'm most excited for his kit. So passive 1, super insane. Heals HP of all allies by 50% of damage dealt. Heals 25% of damage dealt when countering an attack with Judge. So heals HP of all allies by 50% of all damage, and then, well, basically it's just going to be up Judge, because his other 2 skills don't deal damage, and then heals 25% of the damage dealt when counterattacking with Judge. And then let's go into, obviously, his passive 2, which can be counterattacks with Heavenly Sword when Artimel or an ally is attacked, increases Artimel's physical defense by 10% each time Judge is triggered, stacks up to 10 times, only activate once per incoming attack, disregarding AoE or multi-hit attacks. So basically, I believe that's after you do, after he's attacked 10 times, he'll get an overall increase of physical defense of 100%. And then you combine that with the other passive 1, he is also going to be able to heal, and he's going to have an opportunity to remove buffs from the enemies. So probably the overall, like, for what he does, one of the most well-built passive kits, maybe outside of Trent, that I've ever seen in the game. It's just absolutely nuts of how well his passives coexist with each other. So, absolutely insane. And then finally, we're going to go into increases skill damage by 20% when Artimel's physical defense is higher than that of the target. So, that is where you definitely want to build him on high physical defense. So, first of all, let's go over his gear of what you guys can kind of go over to try to get him high. So let's go over the Literature set for supporters. So the helmet is kind of the big kicker, and it's actually cool that the helmet for Artimel is probably one of the more important pieces, because most players can use the Alluring Bella cheese strat to farm the boss Proto 12, which is awesome because that's where you're going to get your 80 and 85 gear. Now the thing is, that one says magic defense, but you can, as soon as it'll show me, get physical defense pieces of gear for your Artimel. So that means you want to get the physical defense. Do not just take any piece of the support exclusive Literature gear. You want to take the one that has physical defense. It has to be physical defense because that's where all his scaling is going to go off of for his S1, for his passives, everything. So you want to get this super high, and you obviously want to try to roll as many substats on physical defense as possible. So the things you want to see are physical defense. You want to see speed as well, because getting more chances to attack to remove more and more buffs from the enemies is super good. Attack isn't as necessary, but it is a, you know, after those two things, I would say is good. Him having resistance is pretty good as well, so he doesn't get hit with any debuffs, so he's not like neutralized by like a seal or a paralyze or anything like that. Is super good as well. So, but definitely go for the support Literature set and make sure you guys get the physical defense. I honestly screwed mine up and I have to re-roll my physical defense helmet because I actually just gave him whatever I had at the time and I wasn't paying attention that we could do that. So, 1 second. Apparently my phone was not muted, guys. Okay. Alright. Sorry about that. Alright. So, as far as for gear goes, helmet, probably the most important piece of gear overall. Outside of that, obviously just try to complete the Literature set. Use the most powerful gear you guys can make. So for left side, if you guys can farm Iscariot, then you guys can use the necklace, which is, let's see, where do we have one here? I know we do somewhere. Does it not show equipped? All right, there we go. Show equipped. Where is it at? Where is it at? That's the tank one. That's DPS. Maybe I don't have any. I haven't gotten any yet, maybe. No, because I have them on boots. So Iscariot's probably going to be the easiest. Keep in mind, from my other video, guys, you can be doing your level 10 and completing all 3 objectives for the dailies for the boss level 10s to get your pieces of gear as well. So you guys can do that. And I'm not sure for the boots. Like, let's check some of these other boots. If you can get physical defense boots. So try to get physical defense boots as well. If you guys end up giving him the boot over the necklace. If you guys either can farm IMA level 11 or 12, awesome for you. Or if you get lucky enough to get a drop. Unfortunately, the one boot drop I did get was magic defense. So rip that. But hopefully I can get like a necklace for him and I can swap that out and then put a physical boot on him as well. And then you guys can also use some of the ruins, like give him the attack speed on the ruin set for the Summoner's War collab gear. That would probably be a pretty good combination to give him like part support ligature, and then speed, because like I said, you want to have speed first so he can remove those buffs. So that's what I would recommend for gear. Now, as far as for mode, so let's go into our challenges, and we'll go over where you guys can use them to wrap up the video, to go over him fully. So the number one place I feel that people are using him right now is PvP. Simply on their defense teams. Oh, cool, we got demoted to Crystal. That's awesome. Simply because of how his AI works, it's going to be very, very strong, because it doesn't matter what he does. He's just going to be progressively good because of the built-in counterattacks of getting attacked by, all those different enemies you're fighting in PvP, and it's a 5-on-5 fight. So his counterattacks are going to be a lot. He's going to heal. So in my opinion, he's going to be taking the place of Freya on your defense teams, because he's going to give you that little bit of passive healing, and he's going to remove buffs. So it's going to make it harder for Wei to consistently be overpowered, to where her bubble tea is going to be continuously active on all their allies, because he's going to have a chance to remove that. Now, granted, if you're also running Trent, they could resist, they could have immunity, things like that can happen as well. But nonetheless, he's going to be super strong in defense, probably strong in offense as well. I'm not super focused on PvP anymore. I'm really just trying to always just stay in Master. So I'm just been using my same King Rim comp that I've been using forever. But once I get my Artimel +5 eventually, I probably will, even on my offense team, just run him over Freya, to be honest. So there you guys go. So PvP, amazing option for probably both offense and definitely defense. The next thing to use him in definitely is going to be Chaos Tower. So once you guys get into the harder floors at Chaos Tower, when you guys start getting into like the 50s, if you guys are still struggling to clear them, he's going to be super good, because you're going to be fighting 3 to 5 waves of people. When you guys do like the little boss modes, you're fighting 5 enemies, and if you're doing the 3 waves, you're fighting 3 enemies of 3 waves. So you're going to have other enemies come in. So once again, just like Freya, he's going to have that counterattack. He can remove buffs if the enemies are doing buffs, and he's going to progressively get stronger and stronger in physical defense to allow you to tank more and more. So if you build him up super defensively built, like a Fahrenheit, like if you can get him to 16k to 18k defense with like 12,000 health, then he's going to probably be able to take a role for a tank. Now, granted, I still recommend running Enemy for the higher 50 to 60 floors, because Enemy has that built-in auto revive of invincibility while he's in his whatever his afterlife mode is. So I still recommend running, like, a good comp I feel is going to be like your Kangrim to do your instant kills, your Wei, Artimel. Then you can also run your Enemy, and then like another unit. You could also run Freya too. So that's where I would kind of go with that, especially if you have Kangrim on the 20% extra chance to act again. Then you can get those extra turns with Kangrim, so you aren't getting defeated by the 120 turn count. So definitely Chaos Tower is a huge mode for him, for you guys to get those rewards every month. So I feel he's going to take the role of a lot of maybe your other support tanks. Like myself, I was running Rachel. So once I get him +5, he's going to completely replace Rachel. I have no reason to run Rachel anymore after that. And I'm just going to have a super good survivability team for the floors from like 45 and up. So he's super awesome, guys, for that. And then finally, let's go into World Boss and possibly even Alliance Boss, depending on what the Alliance Boss mechanics are. But this week, not so much. He's not going to be very good for your World Boss, but on Guardian of Balance, last week you guys had where he had to do multiple hits in order to take damage for the Guardian of Balance. So he was super awesome because he does, what was it, like 5 or 6 hits on his S1. So he was super good for that, because every time the Guardian is hitting him, he's going bang, 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 bang. Hitting, and healing. So like I said, fulfilling multiple roles of what he does is super good. On top of that, he buffs his own defense. He removes debuffs. He removes buffs from your opponents. So he just does so many different things that he's super viable in a lot of contents. Now, he's not a DPS hero. Obviously, he is a support hero. So he's not going to be probably as useful in like boss battle, fighting like Trent. And like, I guess Trent would probably be the most useful because you have 3 enemies you fight. Definitely Iscariot, he's not very good. Proto, he's not very good because you don't need, it's pretty easy to beat Proto. And even IMA, he's probably not very good either because you only fight at most 2 enemies. So that's kind of my whole thing of where you guys think you should use him. So PvP, for Chaos Tower, very strong. And then for World Boss, for certain bosses when his skills are applicable when his skills can be applied to the boss. And then possibly even for, also for Alliance Battle, basically PvP as well, so he's going to be strong there as well. And then also for, potentially for Alliance Boss, if they have similar mechanics for needed multiple hits, or, a built-in healer, things like that, depending on what the boss does for the week. But definitely probably more on a World Boss than Alliance Boss, but he could be used if you guys need him there. If you need that, just that little bit of healing, but you don't want to commit to a full healer, do a little bit of damage, have a little bit of utility for removing debuffs and removing buffs from the bosses. So that is going to be the video for today, guys. I hope you guys all enjoyed. If you guys did like today's content, make sure you guys drop a like down below, hit that subscribe button if you guys are new, and ring that bell so you guys are notified when we post more videos. Let me know what you guys think of this series. This was actually recommended by Styx, I believe was his name, on Discord. He was like, I really want you to make a overall legend guide video for all the legends in the game of where you can use them. I was like, all right, man, I'll get to it eventually, and I'm sorry it's taken a couple weeks, but we did get through it today, so I hope you guys enjoy, and definitely show your support down below if you guys do enjoy this series, and I will continue to make them for all the legends going forward. Thank you guys so much once again, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.